Hi everyone, it's Shyla, Uplift Communication Lead, and today I'm joined by Blender from Boba Network. Thank you so much for joining us today for this AMA. I'm hoping I could learn a lot more about Boba today and about yourself. So thank you again for coming on. Could we start by you just introducing yourself and maybe tell us a bit about your crypto journey?
First of all, thanks very much for having me here on this call, on this interview, on this chat, whatever we want to call it. My name is Blendor. I wanted to be a stand-up comedian, but that didn't pan out. So somehow I got into the crypto world. It's been a fun ride. I've been working in the industry since 2016, started my journey in a centralized exchange, Bitstamp. And, the space back then was just really, really promising. It was like a lot of different things happening. But like in terms of scale, like how did everything evolve in the last couple of years is just, amazing. Boba Network was one of the projects that kind of, brought me back into the space because I left it for like a year or so just to focus on general software development. But now I'm working with Boba as their digital marketing manager, just telling bad jokes on meetings and trying to keep everybody's spirits up in bear market. So this is like a general couple of words about me.
It's a very important role that you've got, to be honest, keeping spirits up. And yeah, I guess you've just got to be take the punches basically, because we know that the market's not great, but we just have to still keep the spirits up, especially with the community. Let them know we're still there. Let them know that we're still like committed to seeing like projects through and stuff like that. So it does take a certain kind of personality to keep up that I want to say banter. Through the good times and the bad. So yeah, it's a very important role. Okay, cool. So let's talk a bit about Boba. So everybody's heard like Boba tea, and that becoming like a phenomena, like a global phenomena where everybody has to have like this bubble tea. But where do you think actually Boba Network's obviously got nothing to do with tea, but does it? Like, is there some connection? Why have they used the name Boba Network?
There are like a couple of stories of how this name came to be. I stick to the one that is like the most PG. When you think about things that make people happy, there's a lot of things, food is one of them. And when it comes to, boba tea, like, have you ever saw a person that's not just happy when, they try boba tea and,
it's just a weird sensation, isn't it? Like,
no, but this is my interpretation of how we came up with the name of boba. But in reality, Boba Network in general is Ethereum layer 2 scaling solution. It started out as an Ethereum layer 2 scaling solution based on optimistic rollup technology. Our main goal is just onboarding the next billion of users to blockchain in general, and with it to help out people, to achieve financial freedom, to achieve, there's like a lot of unbanked people, in the world, they don't have access to like elementary financial services. And if we can help them via blockchain technology, then, if we can make the world a better place, then we did more than enough. So Boba Network as a technology is just, a way to the means. Scaling blockchains, in like one sentence, scaling blockchains. That's
how you sum it up.
Yeah.
Well, Well, it's interesting, like that you said about how boba tea is just happy, makes people feel happy, and it's trendy, isn't it? And I think it's funny because all of a sudden, when the DeFi space exploded, everybody was just naming their projects after food, like sushi swap, like pancake swap, and stuff like that. And I'm sure there's others that I can't think of, but I don't know where that link comes from with food, but it must be similar. It must be a similar analogy. So you've said like what Boba's mission is. What do you think is the most exciting thing that Boba's done? Like when did it launch, and what's the most exciting? Well, yeah, I guess there must be more than one, but like a few things that have excited you specifically about Boba.
That's a great question. So as I mentioned earlier, like I've been in the space from 2016. I mean, I've known about cryptocurrencies a bit earlier, but I was back then in like software development world, working with different agencies and companies, building just digital products, and cryptocurrencies in general and the blockchain technology didn't like seem something that would be as big as it is right now. So when I delved more into Bitcoin and the related space, I saw that, you know, it has potential, but then it also lacks, you know, flexibility. So when Ethereum became a thing, we were all like, oh, wow, the world computer and, you know, smart contracts, these are like really interesting new concepts. But after a certain period of usage, you see that there are, you know, some limitations to the original idea. And, you know, in like a couple of years ago, I wasn't that heavily into, you know, the whole layer 2 space. Slowly but surely, you know, we've seen a lot of different technologies come and go, and we saw that now the optimistic rollup technology, which is, you know, basis for a lot of the incumbents in the layer 2 space, brings advantages to, you know, the current state, you know, of Ethereum. And Boba was just like project that had, first of all, like a really good team behind it. It had like a really interesting approach, you know, to doing things. And I was like, okay, if I want to do things in a really advanced space, you know, I would probably go into like Ethereum development and, you know, everything that's related to Ethereum. But if I want to be at the forefront of this advanced space, I would probably look into scaling Ethereum. And so, you know, thinking about it, it was like a logical decision, you know, going into L2s. And I was just happy to find Boba. You know, just like the way we approach things here was the thing that really got me excited. But you know, we can maybe talk about specifics later on, because we do have a lot of technology that's already out or that's coming, you know, shortly. So
cool. So yeah, so touching on that, could you share with us like projects that you're proud of that have launched on Boba? And also, what has Boba got up its sleeve for the next couple of years?
I'm really happy and proud of basically all of the projects that come to Boba, especially the ones that are Boba native, because Boba is like a general layer 2. You know, there's like a lot of different applications that are currently live. So you have different decentralized exchanges, you have different NFT marketplaces, you have basically protocols for, you know, your standard layer 2 solution. One thing that I really like is this technology we call hybrid compute. So basically, hybrid compute is a way for you to interact with Web2, with existing Web2 APIs, and the way how to bring in data from Web2 into your Web3 smart contracts. The interesting thing is that it allows you to do like off-chain computation and then you can, use like only the results of those computations and bring them into your smart contracts. So this opens up possibility to like create new different use cases in terms of blockchain, to actually connect Web 2 and Web 3, to onboard people from existing products in Web 2. So it's just like a really big sandbox that gives you like a lot of options in Web3. This is like one of the really cool things that I'm really proud of. And of course,
what's that called? Sorry, hybrid what? Hybrid compute.
Hybrid compute. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to read up on that because I find that sort of stuff really interesting. How like obviously we want to bring loads of Web 2 onto Web 3, but the whole on-chain off-chain thing, on-chain off-chain is one, people don't fully understand the need for everything to be on-chain. Secondly, people need that knowledge, or they need that bridge to make that transition from Web 2 to Web 3. So for example, like an accounting firm or whatever, there's certain things that they don't want to have on chain at all, and there's no need for it to be on chain, but they could still have an immutable, like balance sheet or whatever it might be, purchase ledger or whatever on chain, but then certain transactions and records and things of companies completely off chain, like just for security if they want to just keep it off chain. So there's loads of these things that I sort of take a personal interest in, because I'm thinking, well, Web3 isn't the solution to everything. Like, although like we want to be, we're these Web3 champions, right? But Web3 isn't the solution to every single Web 2 company out there. There needs to be that, like I said, like a hybrid, like a way for them to pick and choose what they want to put on chain. And they need to know as well the benefits of doing that. So I think that's a really interesting thing to help companies make that transition.
There are like a lot of interesting use cases in terms of hybrid compute. First of all, like the way hybrid compute is built is basically it gives the developers the option for them to select which data is valuable to them and which data would they like to include into their Web3 contracts. I remember there was this project that has been doing like an amazing thing. Like I haven't, my mind wouldn't cross my mind like a million years. So they were creating dynamically generated NFTs based on the moon phases. So they were calling the APIs of I think weather.com or like one of these websites, and depending on the moon phase, they would generate like different NFTs. So like generating dynamic NFTs with changing attributes based on like a data point, a data source.
Yeah, that's
from Web 2 from the outside. It's just like one of the possible options. Or I don't know, we were talking with some friends, and they would be like, because we usually like play video games together, they were like, I would like to put on chain only the games when I beat Blender bad enough, just so like the whole world knows that like he's a really lousy video game player. And I'm like, okay, that's also a possibility, for hybrid compute, or so yeah, especially in the world of like linking, different data points, this makes sense. Gaming is like one of possible industries, that could really leverage this hybrid compute.
Yeah, makes sense. So what other things then have you got coming up? Exciting things. Excite me.
Exciting. This is top secret thing, but we will be probably opening like a chain store of boba tea shops. No, no. But that would be great,
Yeah.
Just having like a bunch of boba tea shops. The next thing that we are really excited about and that we're working really hard on it is basically our multi-chain strategy. So I'm really glad to tell you that we just announced yesterday, at the time of this recording, of course, that we became the official layer 2 scaling solution for Avalanche blockchain, or AVAX.
Congratulations, that's a big deal.
Yeah, thank you very much. So basically, what we realized is that there are so many different blockchains and there are so many different ecosystems and people that do like a bunch of different stuff, but due to their circumstances, or due to their current ecosystem limitations, they just stay like on this island, and they don't have the opportunity to interact, with each other. So if you're trying to bridge from like one ecosystem to another, it's really, really hard, because you have to take into consideration all the technical limitations. You have to go through like a bunch of different bridges and a bunch of different apps, and you have to do this and that. And just like the user experience is a bit cumbersome. So we thought about it and we said, hey, what if we can, build a solution that will help to connect all of these different islands, in brackets, with each other. And we saw that, on Ethereum, layer 2 scaling solutions are, an amazing thing. And they're, expanding and giving Ethereum like a lot of new capabilities. So why can't we have like layer 2s for like every other blockchain there? So we are, by the way, I'm loving the cat, so sorry, it's so beautiful.
I'm so sorry, it just came in.
No, it's okay. So basically, we thought about it and we came to a conclusion that Ethereum should not be like the only ecosystem that has, all of these great layer 2 solutions. And what if we can help out other so-called layer 1 solutions to achieve, to extend them, to upgrade them, to offer them, even more possibilities. So this is why we started to partner up with other EVM compatible layer 1 blockchains. We started this cooperation with Moonbeam and Phantom. Avalanche was like the next one. And I think that in the future, we'll be probably having a lot more of these.
So you're just basically going to like all the EVM compatible ones? Is the plan?
Yeah. The plan is to help and connect as much blockchains as possible. Currently, technologically, EVM compatible blockchains are like,
makes sense.
Yeah, they make sense, because it's like the easiest. But later on, who knows? We'll probably tackle, other blockchains as well. But this is for the future. Like, I can't predict the future. If I could predict it, I probably wouldn't be like here with Boba. I would probably be like somewhere else. But let's see what happens. But I am really positive about the future, and multi-chain is the way to go, in my opinion. And sooner or later, everything will go multi-chain, and every one of us will just then use the blockchain that will be the most convenient for them, for their use case.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point that you make. Like, multi-chain is probably like the way forward with everything from like when you talk about 2016, everything was like so isolated. And then we've had like DeFi and the bridges and everything getting there with EVM and everything else. But then what other, at the moment, what do you think are the challenges the crypto space is facing? Like, if we just forget about the bear market in the minute, what are we trying to achieve, right? What is our challenge at the minute?
That's a good question.
Because apart from the whole multi-chain thing, which I feel like everybody is trying to work on this multi-chain thing, what are the other limitations of like the blockchain space, the tech, or just the culture?
The answer probably lies somewhere in the middle between the tech and the culture. I think that we still have like people who really get negative every single time, you know, the market drops, but then we have like also people who are, you know, extremely positive about every single thing. I would say like the moderation is the way to go. But I'm also like a bit of a conservative person, so you know, you have to like take my my opinion with a grain of salt, you know.
But like genuinely, like what do you think will be like the one light bulb moment? Like what are we waiting for it to just go boom, you know, like, and it just be like, oh, everybody's on ship?
I think that the light bulb moment will be when we will have a better user experience of interaction with like different chains and different products. Because if you take a look at like Web 2, where did Web 2, like before it was just the internet, now it's Web 2 and Web 3, and before it was just crypto. I think that where did the Web 2 space became like really big was when we figure out like you know, a better user experience. That was, you know, when we had like you didn't have to be like a computer scientist.
It was that, but you know, I agree with that. But you know, the other thing I noticed was when, for me, I started using the internet when it was cheap, when it was cheaper, right? That's when like we got it in our home. Do you understand? So it's just occurred to me now that actually when you said, when did I start living on the internet? Like back in the days of like MSN Messenger and things like that. When did I start doing that? AOL and all those sorts of things. I used to sit there just all night talking. I only did that when I had dial-up internet at my house for a penny an hour or something like that, when the price became accessible for like every single person just to have it. And before that, I think it was like £40 a month or something, which back in those days, like 20 years ago, that was a lot of money. £40 a month is probably the equivalent of like £100 a month right now. So yeah, I think one of the big things that opened the doors to everybody, floodgates, was the accessibility with price as well, but also the infrastructure. Because remember, we had heard of this internet thing that we'd have to go to the cafe to log in to use the internet. But when it came to our homes, that's because we had the infrastructure. It's when we had support of the government and we had the support of the council to help them like dig up the roads to put all the infrastructure in place, or whatever it might be. So it's going to take that compatibility is only going to come around when we've got support of the higher, you know, the regulators, essentially, the government and the councils and stuff. Is that if this is really good, so we're going to start installing, you know, or accepting, you know, this in this school or whatever it is, like just getting the infrastructure. I think that's another thing.
That's actually a really good point. I skipped that point because in my mind, like we already have the infrastructure, you know, and the infrastructure is already there. But as you said, maybe it's the infrastructure is definitely, you know, and accessibility to that infrastructure is definitely like the prerequisite for you then to have.
So like if there was, we need number one. I feel like another thing when I'm speaking to loads of devs, right? So speaking to like devs at conferences and stuff, and they feel like it's like, I can't even explain it, but they feel like they're part of this cult, right? They don't admit it, but we know as a non-dev, when you speak to these people, they like building stuff, but they feel like it's too advanced to even explain to the normal person. They're like, but when we've refined it, and then when we've done this, and when we've done that, that's when it'll be ready. It's like, no, can't you like think of one example where we can go, this is the use case? You know, like this is the light bulb moment, and that can just go viral, right? And everybody using, but we're not ready for that. And it's almost as if they've got this tech and they don't want to share it. They're like a child with a toy, that this is our thing and we don't want to share it with. There's an element of that within the space like, it's like we don't want new people, or we don't really want the retail crowd to be in the space. Like, it's really strange how they are. I've personally noticed that. I don't know if you've noticed it, but I feel like there's an element of that where they want to keep it to themselves, like it's their toy. Like, just like, how does
that's a really interesting viewpoint on that one. I think that I'm a bit biased because I've been surrounded with developers and with technology for the last 20 years. So I maybe don't share like the exact same sentiment.
I'm going to share with you a video of this conversation. I've got a video that nobody's seen, right, of devs chatting, and it's you have to keep it to yourself. But I'm going to send you that video. I've got it. And I want to see your opinion on it. But it was literally this same conversation, and it was almost like they were saying, no, but the normal people, or like the Web2 people, aren't ready for this. Like, it was really strange conversation. But I'll have to show you, and then you'll see what I mean. You'll agree.
Okay. I wouldn't agree with the point that Web2 people aren't ready for it, because who are Web2 people? I mean, at the end of the day, everybody just like people,
Everybody's a Web2.
Yeah. I think that we currently got what's the right word for it? English is my second or third language, so I can tell it in like.
Well, have a go, and then I'll see if I can rephrase it.
I bet you don't speak either Slovenian or Albanian. So
no. Sorry.
I would say that we just have to find the right form. We have to find the right form, or we have to find the right way to approach, existing, consumers, existing users of the technology. So, for example, we are really heavily reliant on smartphones today. And so there are like certain user behavior patterns that everybody knows. If you swipe up, this will happen. If you swipe left, right,
Intuitive, yeah.
Yeah. So making things more intuitive, making the technology and certain actions, operations, like a swipe will do this, a pinch will do this, and just making it not maybe more gamified, but just more easier to use.
And also if it was consistent across everything. Like,
definitely, yeah. Consistency is really, really important. But in order to achieve consistency, you have to have like some kind of standard that everybody agrees upon, or like a couple of bigger players that will, direct, the way of how things will be going. We currently don't have Apple's in like the blockchain space.
No.
And it's also a good thing that we don't have like really big players. So this is, up for the future. We'll see. The light bulb moment that we've been talking about earlier maybe already happened, but we won't know that this was the light bulb.
See it as a light bulb moment. Maybe. Because then like there's two sides of this as well, right? So there's the light bulb moment for crypto as a currency, and like, as a store of value and things like that, where people, I think we're getting a lot of interest there, right? For that side of things. But the actual tech is going a bit unnoticed. So what we need to do is get a bit more spotlight on there. And then what happens is, even in the media, in the mass media, all they talk about is that the money part. They're not talking about the tech part in mass media, because that doesn't interest them. How can we make that interest them? When there was NFTs, they were interested, but again, it's because of the money element, because it was for 69 million or whatever. It's always in the mass media, it just comes down to that. And I feel like the whole blockchain space just gets not diluted, but like reduced down to the token price, which is obviously when people are in the space. That's not what we want to see.
Working in the mass media has its advantages and has its disadvantages. I think that when you're working in mass media, you're trying to reduce things to a common denominator. And, unfortunately for like basically all of us, money is the thing that we are interacting with on a daily basis. We, value is a concept that is, inherent to us. And if we go like a bit, philosophical on it, and not a lot of people are even familiar. If you take a look, like most of the world, it's not they're not familiar with like some basic, computer science concepts, and so it maybe alienates them a bit, but money value, this is something that you're operating with on practically like a daily basis. So it's more intuitive for you. And this is why it's easier to talk about it.
Yeah, it's easier to understand. Yeah.
Yeah, easier to understand.
And the thing is, the media only prints what sells. So that's what sells. In the tech side, it's not selling for them, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, money always sells. Money is always a topic that's going to be irrelevant no matter.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
So because I think that's the biggest challenge we're facing is that, mass media or the world at the minute has just its eyes on like the price of Bitcoin, and that's it. When it's down, crypto's a scam. When it's up, crypto's doing well, and every celebrity is involved. Okay, so next thing, let's go back to actually talking about Boba. So Boba obviously is a really interesting project. We're going places. What do you think will interest our community, the Uplift community, about Boba? What do you think they're going to find most interesting about it?
I have like this this story that I like to tell people, especially at conferences, and so far I got like a really good feedback on it. The way I see Boba and the way I see the whole space is, if you think about a road, a simple 2-lane road, like on one end we have like the seaside, on the other we have like this beautiful mountain range, and it's just like a really nice road for you to take a drive on. And once people see this road, everybody wants to just drive alongside it, have this beautiful view, see the mountains, see the
Instagram photos.
Like once this starts happening, the road gets congested, like because there are like people with scooters, and there are like cars and buses and trucks and whatnot, like this road is Ethereum, so what we then did is we built like all of these highways on top of these roads. We've built systems for you to be able to go to connect to these highways, and people are now still enjoying the views, not obstructing others, having just faster transactions, having like a really good user experience. If you think about layer 2 scaling solutions as highways, everybody is building highways for the same reason. We want to help people to have like a beautiful ride, but everybody is focusing like on a different way, like everybody focuses on a different aspect of this highway. So while some of them are optimizing for speed, for a higher throughput, like building additional lanes to this highway, Boba is focusing on connections with other highways, So once
Spaghetti Junction.
Spaghetti Junction, yeah, but also for you to be able to go over that mountain range and see what's on the other side of the mountain range, and then because if we would stay like at connecting levels, I mean at connecting layer ones, like if we have a mountain range, and on one side of the mountain range we have this beautiful road, and on the other side the other road, we have like two options. Either we do like a direct integration, which is like drilling through the mountain to build a tunnel, but this is expensive, time consuming, it's really hard, we need specialized tools, a lot of people working on it. So this is why you don't see a lot of layer 1 to layer 1 integrations directly, because it's just like too much to do. But then you have like all of these ways how to cross this mountain range, you know. So you have like the little road, you know, that's kind of dubious. Like, do I want to really ride here or something? So there's like a lot of protocols, bridges, this and that, and you know, sometimes it's really hard and you know, time consuming to actually get things across. But if you have, you know, these highways that are built, you know, kind of the same way, and they connect, you know, in the same way, then, you know, the whole experience is that much, you know, easier and faster. So if you're thinking about roads and highways, we are building highways that connect to other highways, because this is what, at the end of the day, we want for our users. Just like a beautiful, simple and fast ride, you know, from one road to another. Like,
that's a good analogy. I like that. So yeah, I think that is an interesting way of putting it. It's an educational way of putting it, and I think that's the main thing we're trying to do with our community. Like most of the time, we're just trying to educate them with analogies like that. So thank you for that. It's a really good one. Okay, so going back to the Uplift and Boba partnership, so we have successfully integrated Boba onto our platform, which means that we're able to launch Boba projects on our platform, so the tokens would like remain on like the Boba network. They wouldn't be, you know, they wouldn't have to. We're trying to make the user experience seamless so that you don't have to, you know, use bridges and then convert everything. We'd be able to hold the tokens from the Boba network and send it straight to your wallet. So yeah, that's something exciting. So excited that that's in place. So could you tell us about, I don't know if you're able to actually, could you tell us any potential, well, not potential projects, like what kind of projects do you guys have coming up? Are you allowed to say any, like, that you've got coming up on your, not necessarily on our platform?
Like, one thing that I can share with you guys is, it's probably you have seen, there's been like a number of different games coming to Boba, and I can say that we'll be having even more games coming to Boba. Unfortunately, I cannot disclose like too much about it, but let's just say that if you are looking for a really good, you know, gaming experience, the upcoming projects on Boba are going to be not just like good games, but they will also have, you know, seamless integrations with the whole blockchain side of things. So this is going to be like a really interesting thing moving forward in the next year or so. We also are really, really happy that we have partnered up with SushiSwap. So we have announced that we'll be working with SushiSwap, and Sushi also launched on Boba Avalanche Layer 2. So there are also like a lot of DeFi projects that are coming in, a lot of different ways for you to invest, you know, trade, do like everything that you've been currently doing on the DeFi side of things. And of course, not only games in DeFi, we're also always on the lookout if there are like any new promising projects that are just expanding the way on how we think of interacting, you know, with blockchains. During the last year, you know, we've been on a lot of hackathons. We've been like on a lot of events, talking to a lot of different teams. You know, some of them already deployed, some of them are, you know, still working on their projects. So yeah, basically we're like a really big open community for every project. So this is also maybe a call to everybody who's watching this and thinking, hey, maybe we should try out Boba. It's really simple to deploy on Boba. So docs.boba.network, just like, you know, if you're a developer, everything is written down there. So just take a look at our documentation. But yeah, I think the easiest way is just to follow us on social media, because we're like posting a lot. So you'll get everything about Boba.
It's interesting that you mentioned like there's loads of games that are launching on Boba, because I feel like NFTs, metaverse, and gaming kind of get painted with the same brush, but they're actually very different. Gaming especially is very different from like the NFT and the metaverse market, in the sense that it's not in line with that. So it seems to be like one of the categories that's defying the bear market, with it's still got like 857 million like in transactions on like a monthly basis. You've still got over 1 million users that are connecting to gaming dApps on a daily basis. Like it's still growing, and it's not like DeFi and, you know, the NFT space and everything that's quieting down. Gaming is still going pretty strong. So yeah, I mean, it's really interesting that you've got all of these projects that are coming to you that are gaming, and yeah, we're really interested at Uplift in IDOs, gaming IDOs. So hopefully that's something that we'll be able to work together on. Let's see what happens.
Definitely.
But yeah, I think that brings us, apart from, actually, I've got one more question. You mentioned like you're at events. What events, can you tell us any events that you're going to be at like in the next couple of months? Because I know there's none in like December, but
you got me right now. There's like a bunch of events we're attending. We're currently on mainnet in your city. I know there's going to be like Token 2049 in Singapore, and there's just like, again, a bunch of different events coming up. We're basically all over the world because like the whole team is distributed. So it doesn't matter if it's like, you know, North America or Europe or Asia.
Right,
like
everywhere.
Boba is everywhere, you know, just like the team, Boba is everywhere. So yeah, the easiest way again would be just to follow us on social media. We're like constantly posting on everything. But yeah, we'll be definitely attending a couple of events by the end of the year. So yeah.
Fantastic. Well, that's good to hear that you're out and about and going to all of these events. That's amazing. Well, maybe not you yourself, but like your team. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us for this AMA today. And hopefully we can have you on again to discuss like some more updates if there are any. And yeah, again, thank you so much for your time. I've loved our conversation today.
Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here.
All right. Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.